Dear State Secretary, dear representatives of governments and government agencies from the whole region, dear representatives of insurance companies, nationally, internationally, Europa, Swiss Re, UNISDR, GEF, and the World Bank, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it's great to be back. I followed Europa throughout the process, and it's been always a project that is very close to my heart. So let me tell you why. It is also because, I have mixed feelings when contributing to the opening of this conference. We're celebrating today, but it's also with great sadness and compassion with those affected by the devastating floods of last May, which have caused huge human and economic losses. And I'm glad that I was not only sitting in conference rooms in Brussels announcing pledges, but I've also been able to go out and to visit our projects that have been affected and where we are willing to step in and provide help to those who have been most affected. And I've been really impressed by the dedication of the people that had personal losses and that had to be evacuated, the whole families being evacuated of towns, and that stayed engaged throughout to be able to help to overcome these terrible impact of the floods. Citizens and businesses have been taken aback as they saw their, and I must say mostly uninsured, assets destroyed. For some, aspirations and hope got virtually drowned in the floods. The people of Serbia, as well as Bosnia and Herzegovina, have experienced, unfortunately, the consequences of natural disaster on their personal and their country's development. To cope with these consequences and to support the reconstruction effort, Switzerland has pledged 15 million Swiss francs for Serbia and Bosnia and Herzegovina. The Swiss funding will mainly contribute to infrastructure projects and follow a two-pronged approach. First, immediate needs in the frame of existing activities will be addressed. But not only that, we also look forward and we want to include measures on disaster risk reduction consistently when we plan new projects, so that once future events occur, and they will occur, we'll have less dramatic effects on those affected. On the other hand, there's also a feeling of great satisfaction. This conference truly marks a milestone for a development project under the name of Europa that started in 2008 and is now reaching operational maturity. Its very objective is to provide citizens and business community in Southeast Europe with better protection against natural disasters. And the project is truly special because, as we heard, referring to a family, most involved people, they stayed engaged since the beginning of the project, which is quite unusual in our business because it means that people and colleagues can be held accountable for decisions that they took 6 years ago. And, I'm glad to be able to say that, we don't have to, defend the decisions that we have taken at that time, but, we can congratulate those who have been at the beginning of the projects. And so I'd like to really convey my thanks to everybody that has been involved from the beginning. So for the Swiss State Secretariat for Economic Affairs, as a development institution, Europa stands for several development objectives that we want to achieve. First, it will provide access to affordable disaster risk insurance products to private households, to farmers, and to homeowners. As such, these products will serve as an important and often the only financial safety net available following catastrophic events. In the case of homeowners, the program will help protect their lifetime savings embedded in home equity. For businesses and farmers in particular, access to disaster insurance supported by Europa will allow them to protect assets and hedge future earnings from adverse weather impacts. Insurance can support adaptation to climate change. Consequently, it will also help businesses, first and foremost, to reduce the cost of borrowing, which will result in improved equity valuations, which then means that the businesses are investable and that foreign direct investment will come and will stay in a country despite the risk of more frequently occurring catastrophic events. Second, Europa will support the development of a local insurance market and deepen local financial sectors. The local insurance partners of Europa will benefit from state-of-the-art distribution systems, which will enable them to attract new clients. So it's a business model that should work. In the long run, Europa will be catalytic in developing national catastrophe and weather risk insurance markets in Albania, Macedonia, and Serbia. Third, Europa will provide economic and fiscal benefits to governments. A market-based disaster risk protection system such as Europa will help reduce government-owned contingent fiscal liabilities due to national hazards and will mitigate the adverse impacts of natural hazards on fiscal stability and economic growth. Sovereign disaster risk financing, as we heard before, and insurance for middle-income countries is also the subject of a wider cooperation that SECO has with the World Bank. So therefore, we're really active from the macro level down to the micro level. And I think it's through such a combined approach that effects of disasters such as the ones we've experienced in May can be addressed in an economically effective, efficient way and help those who suffer most from such events. But Europa is not only an example of what we aim to do, but also a model of how certain things can be done. It's a genuine public-private partnership and a model for regional cooperation. The governments of Albania, Macedonia, and Serbia combined forces to capitalize Europa. SECO in turn supported the World Bank in order to provide the public good in terms of data, modeling, and structuring. While many donors opt for insurance products first, the approach we have taken here is backwards, so to speak. We started with reinsurance first. This should help to solve the problem of scale, a frequent issue encountered in microinsurance. So in that sense, I think it's no surprise that we as a Swiss agency have believed in this model from the start. After having taken several hurdles, I'm happy to take note that Europa has now obtained a Swiss reinsurance license and has now reached the starting line. And let me tell you that obtaining a reinsurance license in Switzerland can be quite cumbersome and time-consuming. So it's not only here in the region, but it's only back in Switzerland and also back in Switzerland, where you have to overcome difficulties. But we've tackled the issues, and we're there now to launch the product. But the most difficult part has yet to come, to create a sufficiently strong customer base so that it can be turned into a sustainable business. We want to step aside at one point, and it's through the customers, through the insurance companies, that this will be turned into a true success, and when we meet for the next time in 3 years, that we can still be proud of what we have achieved. And if it works, it may well be a model to scale in other regions. We've heard the plans of the World Bank. They will approach us for sure. And we think that today's conference, in that sense, marks a very important stepping stone in these aims to scale up the project beyond this region. So, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, with these few remarks, I would like to conclude and to wish you a very successful conference. And let me also express my gratitude to Serbia as a host nation, to representatives of other participating governments, to all those of, in particular, Europa and other agencies who have contributed to the organization of this conference today. So thank you very much.